That was horrible.
Hey, Dewick. Hi, you're my best friend.
Can we play today?
You want to come play?
Yeah,
come on
I wanna
and
play
play.
today.
Play into space with me. Come
Oh,
on
okay.
and play into space.
Wow, we're in space.
Wow, we're in space.
That
My whole
was
room. Look, I'm gonna jump from
spaceship.
this meteor to the other.
Ooh, wow. When you did that,
And
I
I'm
saw lots of
moving
stars fly away.
In slow motion.
Slow motion. Because
And
I'm a kid, so anytime I say a weather, it's actually a bubble.
it's actually a wubble woo. We love the wubble woo.
What are you imagining in your space?
I'm imagining my friend George Wubble-Woo. He's a big wubba hose. Come on, George Wubble-Woo. What did you bring into this space? We're in space now.
I bought a pack of gum, and I'm a kid, so I think really hard about anything that I have to say. So I bought 3 packs of chewing gum.
Gum?
And
is it special gum or is it just gum?
And I bought 2
That's
packs
right.
of special gum.
Your mom doesn't let you eat gum.
I know, but I bought 8 packs for. I know, but
8 packs of
don't
gum?
tell mommy, or she take away my iPad.
I'm gonna take all the gum and
Don't stick it together.
I got
Those
a
are
gum
different
ball.
flavors.
I got a gum ball. Can we eat it?
But then we play catch with the gumball and it fall
Here
on
we
the
go.
ground, and then it
Shoo.
pick up all the dog hair, and then the dog is sad because we're eating part
Is
of
it
him.
still safe to eat? Because I'm already eating it.
Hey, where do we go when we die?
Well, I don't. This is we're right
Because
here.
my aunt died, and I want to know where I go.
She go right here. She go right here, Derek.
In my
into this
imagination-
beautiful space.
Oh.
Here goes your aunt. Look at her shoot across like a star.
Wowie,
Whoosh.
that's awesome. Come back. You were the only one who was nice to me.
Oh no.
Mommy says I have no place to live now.
We're in our imagination space. Look, here's our house. Come inside. We
Wait.
open the door, and what's that? Sit on the couch. There's 2 microphones.
Okay, maybe we can imagine that in the future we're podcasters and we have put together lives. And in
But we watch scary movies because our mom said we can't watch scary movies.
We do that because it's easier to watch a scary movie than to think about our traumatic lives.
Okay, here we go into the future. Woo! Hello, everyone. We're adults now doing our podcast. I guess
do you
I am
remember-
Isaac,
And I'm Derek.
and this is
That was
horrible.
horrible.
This is our podcast where we do our best.
At reviewing the worst in the horror industry.
Derek, you were going somewhere there. You said, "Do you remember?"
Do you remember? No, do you actually remember when we were 10 years old and
just moments ago.
my abusive life?
Yeah,
And you had
some trauma in this childhood
and we
space.
would sit and we would we had blocks in front of us, and the blocks were like a computer, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
one block was like strategically placed, so it was like a microphone we were talking into.
Yeah, just right in front. It feels like it was just yesterday or just like 30 seconds ago we were doing things like that, you know? And like, look at us now here in the space. No need to imagine anymore.
It's funny. I actually did do stuff like that when I was a kid. I would totally record myself on this little tape cassette.
What?
And pretend to be a host of something, or
Dream made.
I know.
Now you're doing it. Isn't that's strange?
It's crazy that you
Here
found the
are.
recording of me and my childhood buddy.
I just
doing
thought it'd be
that.
fun to play on the podcast, you know, just like you and your weird that his name was also Isaac though. Like you've got a trend. Just
Well, my name was actually Isaac at the time, and his name was Derek.
Oh, okay, but
I
real-
changed my name.
real quick question though. What happened to the non-Isaac? Cuz is this like a serial killer thing where you get attached to Isaacs and then they disappear?
So I need you to never look at my criminal record.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
or
yeah.
my past lives, because I have been friends with 80 Isaacs.
80 Isaacs.
Yeah, you are actually number 73.
That's too
Don't worry
many.
about the 7 after you. They're in
The 7 after.
they're in progress.
They're in progress. I look behind the curtain. There's like a lab chamber with a bunch of tubes of liquid with a bunch of different Isaacs inside of it. Derek, why are we talking about our imaginations this week?
Because we imagine things, and in order to imagine things, we had to see a movie.
Yeah, so we don't know how to imagine ourselves. So we
didn't-
went to the experts. We went to the theater and watched Imaginary. From 2024.
And that movie was not in our imaginations.
It wasn't in our although did you see? I was staring at a blank screen. I was imagining my own movie.
Well, I personally, every time I go to the movie theater, I like to sit. You know how there's a space between the screen and then the first row?
There's that little space right there.
I like to sit right there and just stare at the wall.
Stare straight up so their faces are warped and weird above you.
But it hurts my neck. So for most of the movie, I just stare at the wall.
Yeah.
And I like to
That explains your neck brace. It looks pretty good on you, actually.
Thank you.
You're rocking it. I know you were nervous about it.
Well,
see, we're playing with our imaginations. Derek doesn't have a neck brace, you fools.
Oh,
you
did you give that away so quick?
I got you. Sorry, no, play in the space. Derek, your neck brace.
I was gonna say it was I put a tie on it and I put little roses to make it look fancy.
It's really nice.
But you can tell people, you could just rip it out. You could just destroy the illusion.
See, but
the fun of
Derek,
audio
that was
medium?
Imagination. It's levels. I said you had a neck brace, then you didn't, but then you did again. Life reinvented. Your aunt is back, Derek.
Oh, God.
Imagination.
It's levels.
Oh, I see, like
Mario levels.
yeah.
Did that joke work?
We watched Imagination.
So me and
Imaginary,
Me and High Horse Palomino were talking and
chatting,
and he was telling me how he doesn't think he wants to be a horse anymore.
What?
I know. He told me that he wants to get.
I respect the agency of him and whatever he wants to be. What's he thinking?
And we ended up coming to a conclusion. He said his issue with being as a horse is he has to do it every week. He has to come back.
So he has to become a horse? What is he off the air?
Well, it's kind of terrifying because I asked him to show me, and he stripped off his flesh and became a skeletonous being.
Oh, no.
But it was actually kind of cool. Hear me out. I'm going to incorporate this into
hearing you, but I'm pretty
campaign.
scared about it.
His bones all fell to the ground, and then all that was left was a little claw. And at the snap of that claw, he could turn into whatever he wanted.
Like a crab claw?
No, like his hand.
Like his hand all curled. Wait, that's right. I guess we did establish that he does have human hands.
Yeah, Palominos, all Palomino horses have human hands.
And it makes sense because they're not real. Palomino's a color.
Well, why would you give that away?
Sorry.
This is an imagination.
Imagination space.
Anyway,
so what's he doing?
So we got into conversation. He's like, what if we just once a week I come onto the pod. Once every other week I come onto the podcast.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, well, that's silly. Why would you only want to come on every other week?
That's silly. That's super
silly.
silly.
And he's like, well, because I'm not able to fine tune my craft enough.
Okay.
And he said, I don't think I'm a straight horse.
This is really respectful.
He said, I think I'm a bi horse.
He's coming out. I
think he was. And I think it's because he's been going to a lot of orgies.
Okay.
So he's been able to experiment.
He's explored. He's opened his world a little bit.
He was a big fan of the what plug, as he called it. And so and then he looked at us and he said, you guys, I think you also could benefit from being bi podcasters.
Oh, okay. We're bicasters.
We're bicasters.
So what he's saying is the podcast is. So he spoke with the podcast itself.
Yeah.
Went deep into his mind chamber, spoke to the podcast itself.
The podcast became an amalgamous blob.
Yes. And it's just a collection of all the characters. It's Count Trivia, it's Science Jim, it's Rawhead, Bawhead Bex, it's Gooper, and then I guess he became
Bilbo
a part of the whole
there.
Bilbo bartender's there.
They were all inside of Gooper, actually, is what happened there.
Oh, so Gooper is the one big gelatinous form,
and then everybody's just swimming inside of it. So anyway, that sparked a conversation. Oh my god!
I mean, he gets big, he gets grosser.
That sparked a conversation between Isaac and I.
Yeah, we sparked a conversation.
Thanks, Palomino.
About whether or not our podcast could be
I love how I address him like he's in the room. Thank you, Palomino.
There is a picture. High Horse Palomino, everybody.
There's a terrible picture I drew of High Horse Palomino in the corner of the room that I keep addressing like it's actually him.
He's real. We had to make an audience for ourselves.
We kind of did. We put our biggest fan in here.
Our biggest,
it feels so good.
It's a smaller fan, but it's big to us. Our biggest fan. Thank you so much, fan, for keeping us cool, keeping us fresh, always not sweaty on camera.
What's a dango?
What's a dango?
Fandango. Okay, so anyway.
Okay.
So this is big announcement time for the podcast.
For real.
We just hit
Jokes is leaving the room. Get out of here.
We're not comedy anymore. That's not the announcement.
The comedy left. We're NPR of horror now. Hello, welcome back. We're
This
still doing comedy
bits.
bits.
This is my favorite bit that we do, though. So we're here to
talk to you about
that was horrible.
A serious subject here today.
But really, I don't want to do this.
I hate it. Yeah.
Well, I love it, but I hate it.
I love it and I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship.
So a lot has happened over the last year or so. We've done 60-something episodes. This is episode 61 of our mainline series.
And yeah, exactly. That's mainline, not including the shorts, the not so horribles that we've made, the 2023 horror movie recap that we did. Like, it's a lot of content that has been dished out in a little over a year now.
And something that we've kind of come to the decision of is like, this is a stepping stone for us. Like, we want to polish these episodes a little bit more, and we want to allow ourselves more time to create those not so horribles or more videos like that. Maybe some gameplay videos.
It's been a minute since we've been able, just like the way our lives are currently running, we only have enough time to make the mainline episodes. We haven't had the time to do the shorts, the specials, all those kinds of things. It's all been kind of lumped into one, running this on a week-to-week kind of basis, right?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be said for how we've been doing it. Like, we've been putting out the content, and it's been fun, but we're losing any polish we could have.
Yes.
We're very happy with what we've been doing.
Exactly. And it's running away from us a little bit. So I think this is our chance to come in and say, like, we're taking a moment to kind of collect ourselves.
Yes.
And like you said, like, kind of fine tune the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, take what we have and what I hope you guys all enjoy, and
we keep coming back. So.
Yeah, exactly. And polish it. Polish is a good way to say that, right?
So starting with this next episode, we will still be releasing, well, obviously you're listening to it right now.
Right.
We're releasing today, but then our next episode won't be for 2 weeks from that, which is the 22nd.
23rd. 23rd is a Tuesday.
Oh, that's a Tuesday, the 23rd. So yeah, we're just going to go to bi-weekly. We're going to release at least 2 episodes a month. But don't fret. That doesn't mean we're only releasing 2 episodes a month.
If you listen on a weekly basis, thank you so much. If you're caught up and stuff, we'll still continue to push out the same content. It'll just be on a every other week kind of basis. And if you're on like episode 30, you are unaffected by this.
You're going to hear this later and be like, "What? I still have 30 episodes to listen to."
Exactly.
And that's awesome. But I don't want you to be like, "Oh man, we're losing content." That's not true. You're going to get content that just feels more fluid, content that just like feels better and is more entertaining. It's more of what you love.
We're going back to the drawing board and really trying to hone in, our niche here, what makes us a good podcast, and the things that are good, and like, keeping it a little more structured and, not less chaos sometimes, I guess.
We've come to embrace the ADHD nature of our podcast, and we found that you can actually structure an ADHD nature podcast.
It is possible.
We're gonna do it, and we're gonna keep doing it.
We're going to try. We're going to do it. Either way, the podcast is not going anywhere. We're still going to be doing this dang podcast, and it's going to become better. That's hopefully the whole thing. Like, it's for, like, there's a lot of reasons, like scheduling things. We're busy in our lives, which makes it kind of hard to do things like this. Like, and
we
I
don't
feel
make
like
money from this.
No,
is
exactly.
Just fun.
And so it's not our jobs, and so we have other things that we do and stuff. And it's not to say the only reason is that it can become a toll trying to make a podcast happen every week. I guess, which is still a fun thing. It's something I look forward to doing every week.
Oh, for sure.
But at the end of the day, the final, the biggest reason that all of this is happening is so we have a better podcast, right?
Yes.
This is all for that, to give to you, the listener. Thank you so much for joining us all the time, And this is simply so that we can do better for you, right?
Yeah. We want to focus on the things that are important.
Yes.
Which is our lives outside the podcast are incredibly important, and we need to make sure that those are being taken care of. And then on the podcast side of things, we really need to make sure that we're polished and we're on the same page and we're talking and we're not just sitting down and reading things, that we're giving polish.
Yes. And we're polished. We're giving you some polish. We're Polish now. We are a Polish podcast.
We are bratwursts.
Welcome to the Polish podcast. We're a bunch of hot dogs.
I feel like we're pushing that a little too much. I feel good about our podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't feel like we've needed a change. It's more of a why not?
Why not?
Why not help ourselves? Why not improve?
Like, we are at a point now where we're like, we have an established podcast. We are at 60 episodes. This is episode 61.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a great place to
exactly.
move.
This is the turning point where now we can say, okay, this is a thing. We've done it for over a year. Let's take and tweak it and refine it. Let's make it a better thing that is hopefully more enjoyable for you. And that starts with actually focusing a bit more on the goddamn movie.
Yes. we see you, we hear you. We've heard some comments that like you guys want to hear more about the movie, and that's great. Let's do that.
Because we are a horror review podcast. We are a comedy horror review podcast, but the comedy is kind of taking over and spreading into a bunch of nonsense, which I enjoy, and I hope you enjoy too.
And I think another thing about us stepping back is we can find other outlets within our same brand to create things that are more comedy focused, that we can still have that outlet.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love being funny. Like, I love being stupid. You know what I mean? And I think that there's space for that.
Absolutely.
So,
Derek, I will cheers to that. I'm gonna take a sip from
my
drink
what
here.
are you drinking?
It's almost like my cup is empty, Derek. Why is my cup?
Your cup is not empty.
Is it not?
Your
it
cup is runneth
I'm looking
over.
at a clear cup right now. Bill, hi, sorry, hi,
Bilbo, bartender, I must let you know.
Bilbo. That's how we summon you.
Bilbo.
Bilbo.
I gave you a drink today, and in
did
that
you?
drink is nothing.
Okay. So the cup is empty, Bilbo. What are you doing to me? You're playing funny, silly
Imagine
games.
it. Now,
Oh,
put it to your lips.
Okay.
Put it to your lips,
Okay,
young man.
okay.
Suck. Oh,
I
you
don't
know
if
what
anyone can hear how hard I'm sucking through an empty straw.
the words that we're saying. Now, imagine while you need to keep sucking,
Okay,
sir. Now imagine, close your eyes, close your nose, close your ears. Well, open your ear.
Okay.
No, you gotta keep sucking.
Okay.
Now imagine you're sucking up the blood of 1,000 men.
Oh God, it's all over. It's
Now
blood.
you're sucking up the children's dreams.
Oh, okay. No, that's kind of there's like a wonder in this. Okay, I
Now
like that.
you're sucking up one man's taxes.
Oh no, it's so sad.
That is what we call the imagination cocktail.
Thank you.
Don't forget 2 jiggers of gin.
Okay. Thank you. I need to have a little edge in my imagination drink. A soupy twist, eh?
Did you just take my
sorry,
sign off?
sorry, I just missed
I
it.
wasn't gone.
You're just sitting here silent, watching me imagine a drink.
Soupy twist.
You know, I gotta admit, Derek, that's a pretty funny idea here.
Thank you. Bilbo thought it was hilarious, and you son of a bitch, you get it. You get my joke.
Yeah, Derek came to me and he was like, I know what the drink is. I have an idea. And he says to me, he's like, just make sure you have like a backup drink today. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean have a backup drink? And after much consideration, I was like, you son of a bitch. You're just gonna give me an empty cup.
Now it seems lazy, but I had another drink planned.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I had a full drink planned.
What
Don't worry
did
about it.
that-
I'm gonna save it for another time.
All
when we
right.
have a blue movie.
That's fine. That's fair. I can't. A blue V.
blue V.
A blue. Oh, it's blue. So it's a blue imaginary drink.
This was blue.
Let's take our imagination down to Garfield land, shall we? I'm imagining.
on, take
I'm
my
hearing
hand, let's all
G.
go
It's
to
a G. It's a
Garfield
Gary Garmichael. No, Garfield. I'm here. Is there anyone in the room that knows a Garfield?
Well, I have a field outside, and it is Gar.
There's a Gar like
Oh,
a fish.
it's Gar.
I'm a Gar.
I'm a Gar.
Does anyone get
Pearl?
that Pearl reference? Thank you.
Classic.
Thank you. Welcome back to It's Our
Just call that classic.
Garfield
That movie came out like a year ago.
Horoscope. I guess, yeah, that's fair. Garfield Horoscope this week. We've got another Garfield. You're Odie. You claim Odie this week. I'll be Garfield this week. On April 7th is when we are recording this one. Derek, what's going on in this comic here? You want to be Odie? Do you want to start? You want Garfield to start? I feel like we have to start with Odie in this one.
Well, I need to read it.
That's fair. I guess I'll start here. So Garfield is doing a bit of a planet Earth kind of thing where he's talking about Odie, who is spinning and spinning in circles looking. You know how dogs do that thing where they spin around in circles and they have to, like, before they sit down and finally nestle? He's basically like, you know, why do dogs turn around before lying down?
Planet Earth.
Some say it's a holdover from the wolf ancestors, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking a bunch, and then he ends up just kicking him in the butt. He's like, it's to keep them from predators. And then he kicks him off the table. He's like, so much for that theory. And Garfield's just kind of being an asshole.
He's kind of just being an
I
asshole.
don't know how to turn this one around for Garfield. Maybe just don't be like Garfield this week. If
Yeah.
you see someone doing their own thing, doing what maybe passed down from them through their ancestors and stuff, leave them be. Don't kick them in the rear when their pants are down. You know, just be nice. Be the anti-Garfield this week. Be the Tuesday this week, if you will.
And as far as Odie goes in this one, like, he is just living his best life. He's spinning around, he's chasing his tail, he's sniffing the air, he's taking a little nap, and then he just gets kicked in the ass.
Kicked in the rear.
I just burped a little bit. My fake
Into the
drink
microphone?
really came. No, but like in your life,
In my life.
your life,
In your life.
you spend enough time getting beat down. Embrace who you are. Sit down. And when someone comes up to kick you, don't just let them boot you off the edge. Odie
It literally
style.
says boot on the screen.
Turn
Don't let it
around
happen.
and slap them in the foot and say, "Oh, who are you to boot me?"
Who are you to boot me? Garfield. Wow. Incredible. Wow, thank you. Guest host Odie, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a wonder.
It's been wonderful. I had a great time on the
Are you a big fan of Garfield?
I am a big fan.
Palomino?
Oh, what? No, I'm Odie. Odie is my name.
Hold on. Let me just peel. Let me wipe off some of that makeup. Hi, horse.
Uh-oh.
You're not Odie at all.
I Odie you this one.
And
Bye.
let's unmask this character. Whoop.
You just ripped his skull off.
Oh God! I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like a Scooby Doo thing. I thought there was
No.
I thought because he sounds like Scooby Doo. I thought we could unmask the man. I really thought it was.
Where are you?
It's still singing to you. You're holding his skull in
I'm
your
sorry.
hand.
I'm sorry.
I need some help from you now.
Oh no!
Wiggy, wow.
Please,
Wiggy, wow. Wiggy, wow.
Wiki wow. It almost sounds like Wiki how. Are you
Wiggy,
trying to
wow.
tell-
Wiggy,
If you
wow.
wrote a Wiki how article, Palomino, what would it be about?
Well, I actually have 6 of them. It's how to be a horse, how to be Odie,
Then what's after that?
how to build sustainable boxes,
Okay.
How
okay.
to-
So like reduce, reuse, recycle kind of thing.
how
That's
to
nice.
bitch at people for their problems, how to have a butt plug, and how to be bisexual.
I can't. I'm putting you in behind this, shoving you away. I don't like imagining that, Derek.
You know what I do like imagining?
What do you like imagining?
Imaginary.
I like imagine. Can we go back to that space?
Yeah, let's do that.
Without talking Scooby-Doo horses' skulls.
So we saw Imaginary, and we saw it in theaters.
We actually managed to catch it. I
We
think
did.
We mentioned a couple episodes ago how we wanted to catch this one in theaters, and then it was like out of theaters super fast, and
then
like
they
a week
put it back
turnaround.
in.
Then they shoved it back in there.
And I'm in a show right now that has a pretty rigorous rehearsal schedule.
Yeah.
So I haven't had enough time in the nights to go see movies. But I got home early one night and I was like, Isaac, it's playing in 20 minutes.
We have time. Let's just
go
do it.
And so we did. We grabbed our buddy Seth. We headed over to the
watch it
local
at
movie
home,
theaters.
But who has to when you got a movie
When
theater?
you got a movie
all to yourself.
Oh, dude. If you haven't seen a movie with your 2 buddies in the theaters at 10:30 at night, the movie didn't start until 11 o'clock.
Really?
If you're not sitting there yelling and hooting and hollering with your butt, okay, I do not condone being loud in movie theaters.
No.
If there is
If
one
there's
other person in
someone
that
else,
theater,
literally one, if there's half a person,
If
there
there
is
is
the
a-
bottom half of a torso in there,
if there is an adopted child in that theater, then you don't make a peep.
are adopted people half
If
a
you,
person,
yeah.
Is that
If
what
you
you're
don't, if you that just gloss over that.
Okay, okay.
If you are in that theater with an aunt, if your aunt is in that, if
your aunt
if
is
your
in the
aunt
theater.
is in that theater, then you don't make a peep. All right, so Imaginary, it came out in 2024.
Came out this year.
Did you know that?
That's a fresh
Yeah.
one. Yeah, we're hot off the presses here with Imaginary.
Let's hit you with that synopsis one more time. A woman returns to her childhood home to discover that the imaginary friend she left behind is very real and very unhappy that she abandoned him.
Oh no, it's getting hot in here. Is it just me, Derek? It seems like
It's
there's a lot
actually-
of tension in the room right now.
It would be getting hot, but we brought a fan into the studio today, so I'm a little cooler than usual.
Where's the dango? This fan said, I bought this online. It said it came with a dango.
Well, that's where I bought the tickets to.
Where'd Dan go?
Where did Dan go?
Dan, you tell him about the movie. I'm gonna go look for Dan.
Dan, go. Well, wait, but I told him to Dan go away.
Dan. Oh, so you kicked him
So
away.
I
I
kicked him
see.
away.
I won't call him back then.
So Imaginary was written and directed by Jeff Wadlow.
Jeff Wad.
Did you get
Guy,
that?
best guess he blew his whole wad on this movie, eh?
Should I condone that joke?
I don't know if you should. Depends. If you're not a great person, if you're a kind of a gross guy, I guess you can condone that joke that I just made. But if not, I'll take it. Then I'll disappear after Isaac stops talking like this.
Who's this guy?
I'm the guy. I'm the sponge. I'm the terrible joke sponge.
Okay. Wow.
Remember all those awful
I was gonna make some jokes, but everything that came to my mind was incredibly insensitive.
Remember those awful things you were saying about Jesus the other week? Yeah, I soaked them all up, and now
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
did?
I'm like your joke sham.
Sweet.
Wow.
Okay, that's awesome. No one can hear us unless you listen to this episode.
Exactly.
Anyone who heard those offensive Jesus jokes, we're back. Those jokes are out of the episode.
Those
Go check
jokes,
them
I
out.
soaked them up in my sham wow body.
I was surprised we didn't get any comments on those, but maybe that's because our horrible listeners,
deep, yeah.
our spooky boys,
Yes, our ghoulies.
our ghouly girls, and our spooky boys.
Our ghoulies,
it's
our
alliteration
galleys.
because boys starts with an S.
What?
So anyway, Imaginary was written and directed by Jeff Wadlow.
Yeah.
Oh no, where's my mouse?
Your mouse. Oh no, Derek lost your mouse. Mouse like money mouse.
Oh no, not mice money. We can't go back to mice money.
Oh, but mice money was so good.
Mice money was so good. It was arguably like top 10 bits.
So tell me, Wadlow.
Jawad.
Blowing his Wadlow.
At least he's doing it low, not high. So he was the director for Kick-Ass 2.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember Kick-Ass.
Did you ever see Kick-Ass 2?
I saw the first one. I did not see the second one.
I saw Kick-Ass 1. I feel like I barely remember Kick-Ass 2. Jim Carrey was in it, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I feel like I remember him being a character in it. And
don't attack me like I know things.
Derek.
You're the one who knows
Derek.
every celebrity's husband. Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston married to the lion from Madagascar. Not the actor. Not the actor. No, not Ben Stiller. Is that who voices the lion? I can't remember. Alex the lion. No, she's married to Alex the lion. Yeah.
She's not married to anybody right now.
Oh, okay. So
she's
you were single. Alex the lion. I'm giving you the big thumbs up. Go get it, man. It's your time.
Alex,
he's just roaring and roaring. Wow, look at God, he's hopping off into the distance. Is that what's that dangling between his? No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know about what's dangling between his legs.
Ben Stiller was
I was right. Ben Stiller. They are not married though.
Yeah,
she's still single.
Alex the Lion, I'm not gonna lie, kind of get it.
Alex the Lion could get it.
You kind of get it. Just saying.
I feel like I'm more of a Melman kind of guy. He's a sweetheart. Melman's the giraffe. Why do I remember that
What's
name
the
so
hippo?
easily? Gloria?
Gloria could get it. That's David Schwimmer?
David Schwimmer's in the mix. So it's not, it's only like 2 degrees off from Jennifer Aniston in Friends.
Wait. I'm so confused. Why is the entire cast of Friends in this movie? And and Gloria's played by Jada Pinkett Smith, who was also in Friends.
Of course, yeah. And then Chris Rock playing Marty was also...
He played Joey. Man, Friends
remembers. Everyone remembers that.
Oh my God.
So anything more about Wadley?
Yeah, there's actually a lot about his wad.
Yeah, what do you do?
So, no, there's not that much more. He was also producer on Bates Motel.
Okay.
He did a little bit of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
The remake of it.
Oh, okay. I forget there's a lot of those.
I think that's it, man. I'm looking through his stuff. I was looking through his stuff earlier, and I was like, this man is not that interesting.
That's
he
fair.
Kind of looks like, what's that guy's name? He was in Arrested Development. Michael Cera's dad, Jason Bateman,
Mr. Sarah.
He kind of looks like Jason Bateman's like arch nemesis. It's like the Waluigi of
the
Jason
Waluigi. It's the Wah Bateman.
The Wah Bateman.
The Wah Bateman.
Well, what bait for it?
We'll bait for it.
I'm willing to bait for it. Greg Gerb.
That's a fun name. Why are you saying that?
Greg Gerb.
Where did this come from?
He's another writer. He also wrote The Princess and the Frog.
What? Yeah. The dude who helped write Princess and the Frog also helped write Imaginary 2024?
Yeah, man.
That's bonkers.
And Monster High, the movie.
Okay, sure.
It seems like Greg Gerb and Jason Ormland.
These are all such wild names.
I'm convinced these are all made up names.
I bet they imagined all of these names. None of these people are actually real.
That's comedy, man. It seems like they've worked together a lot because he also helped write he wrote the story for Princess and the Frog, and then also wrote Monster High. A
little bit of a writer duo here. They're doing this thing together.
They team up. They tag team.
They're a good team. They're a good team, really. They're a decent team. They wrote The Princess and the Frog. That one was good.
That one,
arguably one of my favorite Disney movies. No joke.
No, really though, it is so good.
Kicks ass. The music's fantastic. Prince Naveen. You want to talk about princes that could get it,
especially as a frog.
As well. Okay.
Wait, what?
Okay, hold on, Derek. Let's unpack that.
Frog legs.
Right. Oh, those crazy frog legs kept me up all night. Achiwa.
Can we just talk about how the first Muppets movie, the entire plot of that movie was a man trying to eat Kermit the Frog?
Oh, yeah.
Like, no one ever talks about that. No one ever thinks about that.
Sexual in nature. This man really wants
that man wants to eat Kermit.
This man wants to
Who doesn't?
The frog.
But also
Prince Naveen could get it. Those looks... That hair, he plays music. Oh, my favorite. Disney Prince, like top of the list.
Steve, I see out there you like eating frog legs. I personally have eaten frog legs before.
And?
They are disgusting.
Yeah,
but I think it's like the thought of it that I was really, really bugging me. Yeah. Because they're like little guys. They're like wings. They do taste like chicken.
I just can't. It's just the thought of it being a frog. It throws the whole thing for me. Like, me as a big Kermit the Frog fan cannot get past it. I look at that thing and says, No, Isaac, don't eat me. No, I'm just a couple of little legs. Hope I'll do a little dance.
And then there's a little piece of ham steak next to it.
One of these days you will get a good Miss Piggy impression, and I don't know if I don't know if today's okay. The karate that was better. That's something.
It's because I'm not in the same room with Tim Curry. I feel like if I was in the same room with Tim Curry and I was madly in love with him, and I was kicking him in the head with my high heels, then I would be able to do a proper Miss Piggy. But until that moment, until that is happening,
until that moment, we're just a horror review podcast.
This movie made $36.9 million. Now listen to me.
I'm listening.
That's not that much money for a horror movie.
You know what's funny, Derek? Is you give me these numbers every week, and they it's such a big imaginary number to me that it all goes in one ear and out the other. Because you said that, I'm like, is that a lot of money? I have no idea. It's more money than I will ever know in a lifetime.
What do you think that amount is adjusted for inflation?
It's made this year. Don't try to jest and joke with me.
We're a comedy podcast.
So hold on. So if that's how much it made, how much did it cost to make it?
It cost 10 to 12 million. We don't know the exact amount.
10 to 12 is a roundabout number.
It kind of seems like the release was like a little weird.
I mean, we saw that in real time trying to see the movie, right?
Yeah. So Universal Pictures was actually going to release the film first, but then they watched it and then opted not to release it. And then Blumhouse actually took the film around, and Lionsgate finally took it up, which is part of why the date of it releasing kind of like shifted a little bit.
That makes sense. It was probably made last year and it's just been in purgatory the whole time.
It's kind of just been sitting around. Yeah,
that makes sense.
But yeah, and then it was just weird. Like, it kept releasing and then coming out of theaters, then going back into theaters. I've noticed this has just been happening lately. I haven't had the chance to look into it, but it does seem like this is just happening now.
There's
like where movies are getting put into theaters and taken out.
There's been a murder. There's been a murder in the movie industry. They're releasing movies and then they're pulling them back out.
Benoit
again.
Blanc, is that you?
Something happened.
Can I also be Benoit Blanc?
Come on in. Give me your best Benoit Blanc.
It's me, Benoit Blanc.
You guys should really go watch my movies. Go watch Knives Out. 1 and 2. I feel like the second one was a little less great, but still
I
still
love
good.
the second one. This is an opinion of one Benoit Blanc.
From one Benoit
to another Benoit.
Now you're listening to between the Benoits.
Two Benoits. Between Benoit. And we talk about our respective husbands. We talk about my husband, Cary Grant, and your husband, Drew Carey.
Now, Ben, watch this. I'm going to become a podcast
Ben, watch
host.
this.
Ben, watch it. Ben, check this out.
Ben, watch this.
You got more info on this movie?
No,
that's it.
No, I do, actually.
Okay.
The Rotten Tomatoes score was 25%. The audience score is 56. Letterboxd is sitting at a 1.9. 1.9. And the IMDb is at a 4.6. 4.6.
Okay.
4.6.
4.6. One more time?
No.
No? Don't want to?
So it is important to note, though, I think it's something we should bring up every time.
Yes.
How many people reviewed this? This is sitting at a 25% with 96 reviews.
It's actually not a lot.
No. Well, I mean 96 is a good amount for movies we watch.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's enough, and I feel like it is a good gauge, but like I feel like we often watch movies and it's like up in the hundreds, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, because then also on the audience score, we're looking at 250 plus verified ratings on this, right?
That's true. The critics' consensus for this movie, Imaginary's core concept is solid enough to produce a handful of scares, but too much of its potential is lost in a cliched story that gets bogged down in world building.
And the audience says, Imaginary passes the time painlessly and has some scary moments, but in the end, this is a pretty basic horror movie. You were
Is King Candy the audience?
You were a critic.
Well, no,
I wanted you to sound serious, and the audience sounds
stinks.
like yeah. With
Imaginary's core concept is solid enough to produce a handful of scares, but too much of its potential is lost in a cliched story. It gets bogged down in world building. It stinks.
This movie, it stinks.
I was trying to be John Lovitz.
I like that character.
Okay,
if only
he's a real character.
If only movie we watched
referencing
had. If only every movie had a critics' consensus in it, though. That's the problem.
We'll make one.
We haven't had one in a minute.
Give me a review.
Can we make them up?
Give me a review.
Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna just pull it from my hat here. Let's go with John Nugent. I don't know, from Empire Magazine. With a rotten review says, not a total catastrophe, but perilously close to being one. It is too obvious to say Imaginary is simply lacking in is it too obvious to say Imaginary is simply lacking in imagination?
Ba-ding-ding-ding-ding. So I'm going to do Lucy Bugless's
Yeah, get it.
review. The reason is because I thought her name was Bug Ass, and I got really excited.
Ha, Lucy Bug Ass.
Your name is Lucy Bug Ass.
Yeah, it is. And I'm proud of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to stab you.
My husband took
I'm
my
gonna
name,
stab you
bitch.
with my big piercer that I have on my bug ass.
Piercer?
Piercer.
Like
Stinger? I don't know.
my piercer.
What do bugs have at the end of their ass? I don't know. I don't spend most of my days like you thinking about bug asses, Derek.
No, I think about frog ass. We've been over this.
Frog legs.
Only frog ass.
Oh, so you're saying the leg goes all the way up to there. You're not stopping at the leg.
The ass goes all the way up.
Okay.
Wait. Frog legs.
Frog.
Shit.
What's your
Forgot my
review?
own bit.
Bug ass. Give me your review.
Aesthetically, it's good. With decent sound design and an atmosphere that mirrors some old school horror movies. But the style over substance approach is disappointing when the movie could have gone a lot harder than it did.
A lot harder.
A lot harder.
Could have been so hard.
I think that her as well is disappointed this movie was PG-13.
Yeah, honestly, though, I guess that is something. Do we often talk about what the ratings are for our movies?
Sometimes I say it and then I giggle that it was funny I said it. So I think maybe I'll just add that in.
We should do that. But yeah,
I'm
this
gonna make a
one's
note about that.
PG-13, right? I got a review from Christy Puchko from Mashable, who says, while a bit unwieldy, Imaginary is a playfully deranged movie that's sure to be a hit at slumber parties, but grown-ups can enjoy its spirited scares too. This has been Christy Puchko from Mashable, a top critic on Rotten Tomatoes. And what's your last review that you got?
Lyra Hale, a fangirlish with an original score of C.
God, she's a smoker,
Says,
isn't she?
Imaginary was a cookie cutter with a dash of making me contemplate. Something fresh for the horror genre.
I like to imagine a character comes up and they're talking like this, taking big drags off their cigarette. And it's like, all right, and I'll be here to audition for the role of Chauncy the bear. Are you ready? And then Imaginary was a cookie cutter with a dash of making me contemplate.
Listen.
I'm listening.
Acting is a skill.
Acting is a skill.
Acting is a skill.
He's moving his microphone very close to me.
Acting is a skill.
I'm scared.
I want people to hear that your skin is made of flies.
Don't tell them that. My imagination is running wild. I have skin made out of flies. Is that what you said? Flies?
I don't know. I just thought that'd be a funny bit.
Derek, I would like to imagine what we expected about this movie.
God, you're so unbearable. I would like.
Unbearable. Hey, it's me, Puny the Punner. What do you call a bear without ears? B. Get it? Because you spell bears.
Yeah, but you could have also said bars.
Bars? No.
Without E.
Without ears. It's
without E.
Bears got no ears. It's a bee. Buzz, like a bee. Bumblebee. My talents aren't experienced over. I'm going to take my Bing over this way. A Bing.
Damn it! I wanted to do the Bing because you stole fucking Soupy Twist.
Okay, I'm back. I got another bear joke for you.
A Bing.
And he's
Wait,
gone.
does that
you
does that unsummon him?
No, it's literally like an ejector seat. If you say it before they're done, it's just like a Bilbo bartender's here and I say, Super Twist.
So next week or in 2 weeks, you're gonna be like, Super Twist as soon as he walks out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna jump him.
You're gonna jump
He's
him.
not expecting it because he's not in you right now. He possesses your mortal vessel, as we've discovered, we've discussed.
Here's the thing I need to discuss with you, though.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know if you have this feeling, but he's always in me.
I'm expecting it.
That's how you should.
Could that be our jingle for expectations?
When you're expecting with child,
Yes.
you should, I'm expecting it.
Hey, I heard you got some good news over the weekend. How's the wife? She's expecting it.
What's she expecting? Oh, you didn't get it.
It's Pennywise, the clown.
The clown.
We're giving birth to an alien clown being played by Bill Skarsgård, not the French one, the clown.
This is me, it's
the
Bill
clown.
Skarsgård from Jean Wick 4.
Oh, my little baby, can you say Papa? Can you say Papa?
Hello, it's me, Papa.
Oh wow, it's so cute.
Mi Papa es su casa. I'm a Frenchman who speaks in Spanish.
Oh my god. What? So for this movie, I was expecting like a decent time.
That's literally the words I wrote.
Really?
I will have a decent time.
Yeah, no, sincerely.
What are you doing?
Because when this
Get out of my head.
Like, do you remember I remember we were in the theater together when we saw the very first trailer for this movie. Do you remember what we were feeling?
we were excited.
I was thinking it might be pretty cool because
We were
the very
like,
first
cool, a
trailer
remake of Chucky.
Because High Horse, get over here. High Horse, please.
Oh my God, it's my time.
I need a box.
Oh, whoa.
I need a box like ASAP. Give me your biggest box.
Big. Oh, a big box. Okay.
Oh, this box has got
I'm gonna have
stairs
to
on
go
it.
to UPS and get a big box. I'm gonna go to Costco, a big box store.
All right, you go get boxes. I'm going to stand on this one you have here. Thank you. So I feel like the art, literally the artistry of trailers is lost on us these days.
Gone.
Have we talked about how I despise when trailers are released and there's like a 3-second trailer starts now. I'm aware of that. I'm watching the goddamn trailer. But I really hate it, and I feel like most trailers just give you the entire movie within the trailer. There's no
so
mystery.
stupid.
And they even call them teaser trailers. I'm like, it's not a teaser. I know what's happening for the entire movie. But this trailer that we saw didn't give it away.
It didn't give anything.
And eventually, and another thing that I dislike is they're releasing like 6 trailers before the movie even releases, right? They're like giving away more information as it comes closer to the movie.
I appreciate wanting to build hype, but
Yes.
it almost overdoes it.
There are ways to do it without spoiling the entire movie, right? But the very first trailer they released for this movie gave us like nothing, no information whatsoever. And I loved that. So I was actually kind of looking forward to it.
I think that's part of the reason I want to go see the first Omen so bad.
Oh,
is
guys, I
because
wanna go see the first
I've only
Omen so
seen
bad.
2 trailers for that, and it hasn't been shoved down my throat. I've seen barely anything about it. What I have seen has been very cryptic.
Yes, and the reviews are coming in
And
great
now the
for
reviews
that
are
one.
coming in hot.
And the reviews for this one, for Imaginary, did not come in very great. We were actually kind of surprised to see that it was sitting pretty low, like right at the start. It didn't even start high and like decline slowly. It was just immediately started at a position where like, well, guess we can watch this for the podcast.
I guess it's ours now.
Yeah, but so the reviews were bad, but the trailer looks kind of neat. I thought maybe it wasn't going to be as bad as the critics were saying, and that was also your general.
Yeah, I was right there with you.
Yeah. So my first formal expectation was, I said kind of on the same lines, like it's likely better than the critics are claiming. Probably not by a lot. I wasn't expecting to be like an incredible movie. Be like, critics, you're wrong. I think this movie is really wonderful. No, I was just kind of expecting like a decent movie that I would not regret watching.
For me, I was expecting a lot of really cool practical effects. I had seen the bear on the internet, and I was like, okay, that's going to be pretty dope.
Going on the internet. I did that like 3 episodes ago.
I liked it.
Funny enough, actually, my next expectation was also bear practical effects will probably be my favorite part.
Will you stop stealing my expectations?
Because again, much like Derek, I was on the internet and I saw the practical effects for this bear. Won't spoil it, yeah. I am on Twitter. But so I thought the practical effects would be pretty cool.
Very lackluster story.
That was a big intake for that one.
Yeah, I had to like really read it.
Yeah. So lackluster story, huh?
Yeah, I don't really have too much to go on this. I just was like, there's going to be a bear. It's going to be in this girl's imagination telling her to do shit. That was like my entire
Easy peasy.
expectation of the
There's
movie.
the damn plot of the movie.
Yeah.
I said no characters I care about. Maybe the little girl who actually has the teddy bear stuffed animal thing. But other than that, I just felt like it was going to be a movie where like, I don't think there are really any actors in this movie that I've seen in a movie before. They were all fresh faces for me, which I am personally a fan of. I do hate when you have a thing like, you know, the Garfield movie coming out where you hired Chris Pratt as a voice actor again, even though the internet was pissed off about him as Mario. And so like you just hire people because they have the name recognition to sell tickets, right? I do appreciate that this movie had not a soul that I recognize. Not to say they aren't established people. They've done a lot of things, right? But it's like I liked the fact that there are new people in it. I did not think I was going to care about any of them or feel for any of them, because I feel like an important thing in horror movies is to care about your protagonist, right? So that you can root against this big bad evil that is super scary because you fear for the life of your main character that you really like, right? I did not think this movie was going to give me that though.
And to bounce off that, there was one actor I knew, and that was the guy who played the dad. Kind of a forgettable character. We'll go into that, but he was in Prodigal Son,
played by Tom Payne.
He was also in The Walking Dead for like 50 episodes. He played Paul.
Yeah, he had
Jesus.
like long hair and a beanie. That's all you need to know about it. I didn't see it, so like you're my guy.
I like looking at the pictures of him in Walking Dead. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this guy.
Did you like him?
But I don't remember anything about his character.
Little forgettable.
I literally have forgotten entirely about this man.
That makes sense. What's your next expectation for this
I gotta
one?
go back to that tab. I went on the internet.
He's going on the internet.
Some really poor editing choices.
Oh.
I was, especially from like the trailer, and then like when I was thinking about it as we were like sitting down, I was like, I feel like this movie is just going to really work in like a scary way, but not in any of the other ways. And I don't feel like there's going to be any cohesion with the editing. I feel like it's going to like always try to go for the same vibe, even when it needs to change. And it's going to overdo it.
No, that totally works.
That was a good expectation. I'm going to go ahead.
Yeah. Pat on Derek's back. Good job.
Every like 20 episodes. Wow, 20.
We come up with like a more.
I like get an expectation. I'm like, yeah, I should say that one more often.
Wow, yeah. Look at me. I'm doing an expectation.
I specifically remember when we had Lex Hogan on, like 50 episodes
I was literally
ago.
thinking about the same thing. And her expectations kicked our asses.
And she had the best expectations ever. And
That's
I was
a
like,
professional
holy crap, where
in
have
the
you been?
industry who knows her shit, you know? My next expectation was a movie that drags in any scenes that aren't spooky. I had a lot of faith in the scary scenes, especially since I saw the practical, like more monstery Chauncy that we'll get into in a minute. But like I was expecting those scenes to work pretty well, and the rest of the movie, any part that wasn't the scary parts would not work quite as well.
Yeah.
And then final expectation, Derek, shall we together, please?
Hold on, I got one more.
What's yours?
I got one more before that.
Oh, I guess you do. I guess I got out of order
you
here.
Jump in the train.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. Overused jump scares that will make me jump because I'm in the theater. I notoriously jump all the time.
Derek's a jumpy,
like you turn the
boy.
corner and I don't know you're going to turn the corner. I will jump 6 feet in the air. Like,
totally. Skyrocketing.
In a world where there are basketball players that need someone who can jump 6 feet, Derek
there is
getting
one
jump
Derek.
scared. It'll be like Rudolph, where my only skill is getting jumped like really, really high.
Yeah, and everyone kind of makes fun of you, like, oh, haha, jumpy loser. All he can do is jump.
And it sucks because I can never walk down the street because I'm always getting jumped. Anyway, so that was really good. I just expected it to be like another Nun situation, you know, the whole pan away, pan back, something appears, or
Lots of
like
jump scares.
just so many jump scares that are like super overused, and they scare me, but that's because I'm a wimp. And so like, you know. But it's not like scared to my core. It's just like, ah!
Look, jeez.
Sorry if I made anybody jump.
Got me a little bit.
I got Garfield a little bit.
I'm feeling a little spooked now. Derek, we have one more expectation.
I'm sorry if I made anyone slip and cut their hand while they're dicing onions at work while they listen to podcasts.
5, 6, 7, 8 kid actors.
Kid actors. You got a little bear in your movie right there. On top of that bear is a little kid. The little kid wants to act with the bear, but the bear's just a bear, and the kid's just a kid. Give that kid a book, and he'll buy a chair. Give that chair a kid, and it will break. Oh, kid actors. Kid actors.
No kids were harmed in the making of this podcast.
So why do you let me do that? When I start going, man, the words don't make sense.
It's the best part about it, though, because you've got such a wild imagination that it just runs rampant.
You give a chair a book, you book a chair, you kid a chair. What the fuck was that?
Derek, did you ever have an imaginary friend as a kid?
Yeah, George.
George?
Yeah.
You knew that so fast.
Yeah, growing up, my parents owned a business, and so I was always sitting alone in my house.
This is no joke. This
is
real life.
Very, very true. They owned a photography. Well, they still do own a photography studio, and I was the youngest child, and so I was always alone in my house. So of course I had imaginary friends.
Yeah.
Because my real friends didn't want to hang out with me. Anyway, and so
did George have a Bonnie at that time? George and Bonnie.
Oh my god!
Your imaginary friend has made it to your adult.
Wow, it all comes full circle.
So what was George like?
So I specifically remember. This is so sad. I haven't talked about the story in so long.
Oh no!
So we had a phone line.
Like a landline, yeah.
Yeah, but we had like phones that went throughout the entire house because it was a business. So we had 3 different lines on our one phone.
Yeah.
And the first line you could use, the second line you could use, the third one, no one touches because it's a business line.
Do not touch.
I remember as a kid, I used to call the first line all the time, pretending to be George to ask him to come hang out.
No.
And I would always be like, hey,
You're
can George
kidding.
come play? And he could never come over.
No. What? Even in your imagination, your friend could not come to hang?
I specifically remember sitting in like my living room next to our grand piano, and I would like
grand piano,
and I would call George. I'm like, George, can you come play? And like I would imagine him being like, no, I can't come play.
What was his reason?
I don't remember. Obviously, I was a kid. I was making it up. But I also had an imaginary friend called Charlie, but I didn't like Charlie as much as George.
So you didn't? And was he like the backup?
But I would have to hang out with Charlie all the time. And Charlie would come over and play, and we would use blocks and make them into computers, and we would play games,
to do microphones and stuff.
Microphones.
That's insane.
There's a little glimpse into my
Derek,
depressing
I'm
childhood.
sorry. I shouldn't laugh.
Why do you think I'm so desperate
shouldn't-
for friendship as an adult? Huh?
You got me. I didn't really have any imaginary friends as
not?
I was growing up. When I was a kid,
Have one now.
I made make one up on the spot. No, when I was a kid, I had a skeleton puppet, like a marionette thing. You could
That
like
makes
play it
sense.
with the strings. I named her. In my brain, her name was Sally. According to my mom, I called her Elsie, but she was my girlfriend. She was my skeleton girlfriend,
That's awesome.
Sally. We were very much in love. That's the closest I got to an imaginary friend. When I got in about 5th grade, I met my best friend Tyrion, who lives in California. Shout out Tyrion, love you, man. We created less of an imaginary friend, more of an imaginary creature named Bippo.
Bippo!
Yeah, it's like Bipbo, Bippo. And he like was just this being that lived in the basement.
That's incredible.
That we did not talk about.
We don't talk about Bippo. We don't talk about
So it's kind of like,
Bippo.
like be careful. We'll sick Bippo on you. Hey,
so
remember?
funny.
Yeah. Did you go down to feed Bippo because he's getting a little hungry?
getting a
He's
little
growling beneath the floorboards.
That's hilarious.
Much like the creatures in this movie, there is a basement inside of Imaginary.
Wait, no, a little bit more.
Oh.
Did you ever have imaginary games that you played?
Like fine imaginary game.
So like construction was always happening around where
It's
I
Utah,
live.
man.
Yeah.
Construction's always happening.
And I remember anytime I would find like not swords,
Swords
like those big
in
stakes,
stones?
those big stakes that they would put in the ground that
Yes.
were like they looked like swords.
Yes.
So
Totally
I would
actually
lead
use those.
entire armies into battle in my backyard, like entire armies.
But Derek, my main question for you: could George come to play?
No, he was never there. Never there. George is never there. Charlie was always there though. He was the real one.
even though we didn't like him that
Shout
much.
out to you, Charlie.
Bless
God,
you,
he was
bless you,
so
Charlie.
annoying. He was always just like telling me what he wanted to play. Never wanted to play that. This all sounds fake. I swear to God, this is real. We had this like the huge bamboo patch in my backyard, and we used to play hide and go seek in there. Me and Charlie.
Oh man,
I had real friends.
this gets
I
so
had
much
real
sadder
friends.
the further it gets.
I had real friends. I swear to
Oh
God.
no!
Shout out Dylan, buddy. Remember me? You
Thank
hung out
your
with
childhood friends keeping
God.
Derek from Charlie
Oh,
and
we need it.
his. Oh goodness, Derek, come! I gotta feed Bippo. You want to come down into the basement with me?
Feed him
and
me.
talk. We're gonna feed him our thoughts about Imaginary from 2024. Are you ready? Because I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this movie. We start in a house. We meet our main character, Jessica. She's very scared. Something is after her. She gets chased by some spider.
Dude.
Fuck. I don't even know what to
Dude,
call
it
this
was
thing.
so grody. It was like a centaur, but a spider.
It was terrifying.
It was so cool.
You know what it kind of reminded me of was that Tim Robinson bit where I thought I was gonna get eaten. That like creature that
That
walks
thing
through
came in here.
walks through the Darmine doggy door. It felt like that. It felt like this creature.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a creature. It was honestly a good way to start a movie.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like high intensity right from the beginning.
Well, I remember the three of us after this happened were like, is this gonna be good?
Yeah.
Like it was way high expectations.
And
for the
mind you,
rest of
it's like
movie.
the little girl version of the main character. She's
Yeah.
like little. She comes through this teeny door in the room, like it's like a Coraline or something
Very
like that.
Coraline
Yeah,
door.
gets chased by this scary thing, but it's okay. She wakes up next to her man in bed. It was all a dream,
Aw.
and her man was that guy from The Walking Dead that we don't really care
and
about.
immediately there is no chemistry between these two.
Wowee!
Oh
It's like the two of them
my
met that
God.
day.
It feels and the rest of the movie kind of proves this to me.
Yeah.
But it 100% felt like they were like, we need a love interest for the main character. Like the producer said that, so they last minute put him in the movie.
I don't know if either of these people have ever been in love in their regular
and he was the
lives.
first person they found.
He's
So
just
they're like,
walking by with like a sandwich in his hand. He's like, "What? You want me?" Huh?
Oh, I just got killed off The Walking Dead.
And
You
I'm
want me to-"
sure he's
I don't know if he
probably
dies in
old
that, though,
enough,
probably.
but he looks way younger than our
He
main
looks
character
12.
Jessica. He looks
looks
so young.
15.
He looks like just like a 20-year-old. I don't know why.
He's like Justin. He's like Jared Leto's angry stepsister's cousin.
Yeah, he's like the brother that like doesn't get to play in the movies all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, Jared, can I come play in the movies? Not now. I'm being in the Tron movie. It's me, Jared Leto.
You know his.
Bleh.
Is he in Tron?
He is in the new Tron movie. That's
Oh
true.
man, I watched a movie with him last night. He is so bad.
Yeah, he's done
Sorry.
terrible things for the Joker
Sorry.
and for the Haunted Mansion movies. Although in the Haunted Mansion movies, you barely got to see his face, and that's the perfect amount of Jared Leto I
That
can take
could
in a
have
movie.
been any actor.
That could have been anybody.
It could have literally
It
been
did
any
not
actor.
have to be. But see, that's another thing. Getting back up my box here because we're still. Did you go to Costco? Did you get the box?
Come on.
Thank you. Getting back up on my this box kind of is that padding? Mm-hmm. Is that like it's got like spring to it?
I put my butt fluff in there.
Oh, I like the suspension here. I'm digging this box. But like that's another thing about like hiring actors for their name recognition. It did not have to be Jared Leto in that
really
Haunted
didn't.
Mansion movie.
No, it really didn't. I remember I went and saw Muse a few years ago.
Yeah.
And 25 minutes to September's Mars was there.
Yeah.
30 Seconds Mars.
30 seconds.
I actually couldn't remember the name for a second, so that wasn't
You
right.
got there.
I remember they were there, and he came out full floral gown. And
Is this a joke? This
no,
is for
this
real?
is actually happening.
Real life,
This
no
is real
joke.
life Jared Leto. This is the day I decided I hated him. He came out full floral
Kinda
gown.
full of himself, right?
He had super, super long hair, big beard, looked exactly like Jesus.
Really?
He called all the children up on stage with him, held out his hands.
Like
and
children
then,
from the audience or
yes,
children that he
children from the audience.
just
it was like all
got
the
any
kids.
kids out there?
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Anyone
How
who's
many
listening to this
children
who's
were at this
concert-
Muse concert?
I don't know, man. Well, it was like teenagers and like
Okay,
kids and
yeah.
stuff. Anyway, he called them out on the audience, and then he sang "Walk on Water."
Like Jesus.
Like Jesus.
Like Jesus did.
I have never hated someone I was watching perform so much.
Not
it
only
was
is
like
he so full of himself, he's like, I am akin to
he is-
Jesus.
well, and then he started that cult.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
it makes sense.
That tracks, actually.
But there was this girl sitting behind us, and 30 Seconds to Mars opened the concert. We were there for Muse. Sorry, they make fine music. I'm not attacking their music at all.
Mostly just Jared
attacking
Leto. Just attacking their front man.
I'm sorry, I snuck up on your high horse box.
No, please. Derek, it's a big box. There's room for two up here.
There was a girl sitting right behind us who came just for 30 Seconds to Mars and follows them on tours. And she was like telling us all about it. Like,
Oh, so
or
you got to chat
I don't
with this
remember if
girl.
she was talking to us or if I was just overhearing her conversation
Talking to
with
someone else. I'm sure she's just like, anyone who will listen, let me rant about 30 Seconds to Mars.
The funniest thing though, when 30 Seconds to Mars ended, she left.
Done.
So she traveled hours to get here
For half of a
concert and just
That's
watched him
not even
walk on
worth
water.
the price of a ticket. At least stick around for the music.
And
Come
Muse-
on.
Muse kicks ass.
Muse
so like,
kicks
what would you do?
ass.
Anyway.
Anyway.
My whole point of this is that this main guy looks like a discount Jared Leto.
So come back to me. We're at the movie now. We're in imaginary again. Jessica is a book writer. She wrote some famous story that had a big ass spider in it. So it seems like maybe she's using like her childhood trauma to feed into her stories. That she's an illustrator, right? She draws for these books,
And
right?
The drawings actually look really good.
They're cute. Yeah, I would
it.
read that story. It's a kid's book.
It's very like Grizz Grimly or like Don't Starve.
Yeah.
That kind of like macabre look. Even a little bit of Has Been Hotel.
Yeah,
very
I liked the vibe of it.
It was a cool vibe.
So now
I'd read it.
she's moving into her childhood home with her new husband, who looks too young for her and is a bother. And his two daughters. He has Alice and Taylor, I believe, are the names. Alice is the younger one. Taylor is like the teenage one.
I did not know her name.
I only
knew Alice.
I learned at the very end of the movie because she doesn't really become incredibly prevalent until then.
Yeah.
The youngest of the two daughters, Alice, she starts exploring the house and she starts saying that she's hearing a funny voice, and we don't hear it though. She just like, what's that funny voice? So she goes down into the basement, and something is definitely down there with her shuffling in the darkness.
No, this fucked me up.
Yeah.
So Isaac didn't see this. I think our friend Seth saw it too. In the corner of the basement, there is just a figure, and it doesn't do anything. It slightly turns its head, and that's it. If you blinked, you would have missed it. I pulled up the movie when we got home because the movie is released on VOD, and I pulled up the movie when we got back, and I had to see if he was really there, and he sure as fuck was.
And I had my head down. I was writing a note about the movie, and so Derek caught that. And it does happen a couple times throughout the movie where there is just this
It happens a lot.
scary figure in the background who like doesn't do a lot. It's just there and ominous. That really worked for me. I actually really liked that.
This
stuff.
is one of my favorite gimmicks in movies. Is the thing that's there that you aren't supposed to know about, right? Like
I love
Haunting
that.
of Hill House is famous for that, right? Like having 10 ghosts in a
Yes.
shot or whatever. And like I loved that.
Yes.
I loved that. I thought it was so cool. Gave me so much hope for this movie. But you were taking the note, and I stood up and screamed.
Yes, you were shouting about it, and by the time I looked up, it was gone.
Yeah.
It was done.
Yeah.
So in the basement, Alice finds a little teddy bear that talks to her apparently, but we can't hear any of it. And so its name is Chauncy, is what it tells her.
Chauncy.
So where are we going from here? There's later on in the basement, we see more of the scary door. Like I'm trying to figure out where to go from here. It's just all we need to know about the movie. There's a teddy bear now that talks to Alice. Yeah. We can't hear it talk. There's some traumatic past with the mom, Jessica. Right? She even she'll go through down to the basement and find old drawings of this little blue door that says the never ever. It just says never ever on it, and it's okay. That seems like it's going to be important, right?
Yeah. So she finds. Alice finds the little teddy bear behind a little trapdoor in the basement, and then there's a drawn like a drawing on the wall of another door. It's like that blue door we saw from the beginning,
exactly,
and that's where she finds Chauncy.
So now, later on, Alice starts playing with Chauncy. Right, she's having tea with Chauncy, and Jessica walks over to the room. She sees halfway looks through the door, sees Chauncy and Alice having tea. Someone else is talking there, though. She can hear a woman's voice.
Yeah, man. And then she kind of peeks inside, and you see these legs kind of scurry away.
Yes, and then. It cuts back to Jessica. You see that scary figure standing right behind her. It is directly behind her.
Oh, yeah, but she doesn't see it.
No, and
he's
then
just standing there.
She gets attacked by the girl's real mom, the actual mother, screaming about how there's something in the house and she needs to be there to protect the girl. So apparently, mom might have gone off the deep end or something like that. Yeah,
a little bit.
They don't really get into that about the history of their real mom and what happened there.
Sure don't.
Yeah. So
this is actually to the most extent. Then the police show up.
Yeah.
Because the mom is freaking out and stuff, and they take her away. And there is implied trauma that she attacked the younger daughter, that she attacked Alice. It seems like it's a schizophrenic situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is handled so poorly.
I hated it.
It just felt like a scapegoat. It really felt like we need a new way for these people to be in this family.
It didn't feel like there needed to be a stepmom situation with Jessica. She could have just been the regular mom, because I really feel like they tried to shoehorn a lot of family issues with Jessica struggling to play stepmom to these two younger daughters. That felt so unnecessary.
Yeah, it really did.
Really didn't need to happen.
Do you know what I think happened?
What happened?
In real life?
Real.
This is not a joke.
Yeah.
I think what happened is they sent the script over, probably not with these family dynamics.
Totally.
And the producers or the script writers or whatever, they looked at that and they said, we need more reasons to care about these characters.
We need more reasons to care about these characters. Give them a crazy mom. Send the dad on tour or something. I don't care.
Because it really feels that way.
They just write off both the father and his ex-wife now. Yep. They're basically gone into oblivion the rest of the movie.
Gone. Because the dad is all of a sudden leaving on tour and then just drives away.
So I guess he's a musician. So he's just abandoning his two kids with their brand new stepmom in their brand new house.
It's so dumb.
What?
It's so dumb. And there's even this forced plot where Taylor, the older sister, is being mean to the new stepmom,
and just an asshole.
And she's
the whole
talking
time.
to the dad, "Take me with you." It is so forced and only happens here and then is kind of thrown away.
Totally. Yeah, it really sucks. But so Alice has a scavenger list that Chauncy has made for her. And he tells her that if she finishes this list, then he will take her to the place that he's from. It's where he takes all his friends.
Creepy.
Creepy. Very creepy.
Very creepy.
Super,
very
super
cool.
creepy. Yeah.
Super into
kind
that.
of a cool idea. But yeah, so she just has she goes up to stepmom Jessica's can I borrow a paintbrush? I need that. It's something that makes me happy, they're just really simple ingredients on this list. This checklist is pretty easy so far, right?
Yeah.
There's a scene that's only worth mentioning because it is the first time that we see Monstrous Chaunstrous.
Oh, Monstrous Chaunstrous.
So next door, the teenage girl starts having this crush on this on this annoying teenage boy from just the house right next to them, right? So he comes over, he is taking Molly or something like that.
He pulls out this little plastic bag
with little
Molly.
pills in it. He's you want to have some real fun because mom is away at work or something, she's gone for the day.
Again, it's another plot line that they threw in for no reason.
No reason at all. It's only worth mentioning because while he's kind of tripping on this Molly stuff, he starts seeing he starts hearing childish fanfare from different rooms. He starts seeing this drawstring from a toy from Woody, and it's leading him somewhere out of the room, right?
Okay, but this was so good. It was almost so good.
I really liked it
because I was expecting this scene to kind of go in a different direction than it ended up doing. What
Totally.
I wanted to happen was he was starting to trip, right? He was starting to trip on Molly, and he started to see things, and then
no one believes him, right? Because it's oh, well, you took Molly. There's no way.
But the way that Chauncy is kind of fucking with him, leading him around the house with this little drawstring,
and even speaking to him in different voices, don't touch Alice's things. Because there was a minute where him and Alice were kind of bickering with each other, and he was calling her psycho and things like that.
Fun.
It was kind of cool. But so he sees the Chauncy doll like across down a hallway, right? And his foot is on the drawstring and it is pulling it closer to him.
So fun.
And he lets up his foot to stop it pulling it closer to him. Then it slides across the floor really fast, then turns into this giant, monstrous, fucked up version of Chauncy that just screams in his face.
Dude, it was cool.
And he runs. He gets out of there. He's gone. And basically gone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, one more time.
Another character that pretty much gets written out of the movie.
We don't even need to mention it. This moment when this happened, the three of us cheered.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
It was so cool.
I loved because he's got this
so
like,
practical too.
Big gaping mouth with hundreds of rows of teeth. His eyes look all fucked up. He's like a big beast of a bear, no longer this little cute stuffed animal. And I loved it.
It very much gave like furry Freddy Fazbear.
Yes,
right. It was giving furry Freddy Fazbear.
Nope, not you, furry Freddy Fazbear. Nope, I don't want to put your pants back on, please. No, get out.
Take them off, baby.
The next room. You're in the wrong. No. You're in the wrong studio. Sorry, that's a different Freddy. Never mind. He's
hello.
Is that furry Freddy Fazbear?
No, it's the.
Oh, I see. It's
Five Nights at Freddy's.
I haven't played Five Nights. You know more than I do. So, in Jessica's studio, she finds a drawing of her spider from her children's book that has its face torn out of it. So she goes to confront Alice because she thinks she's the one that stole it. Right? Probably another an item on her scavenger hunt. Right?
Yeah.
So then there's this big unnecessary exposition dump talking about how her dad got strange after her mom died, and like I really relate to you, blah blah. Because she's talking to Alice as she's underneath the covers, right? But you see it like shifting underneath there, so you know that she's down there.
There's something in there.
There's something in there. But what's that? Look out the window. Alice is actually playing outside. So what's in the bed? It's Chauncy.
It's Chauncy.
The bed was moving underneath there. But outside, Alice is setting up a wooden board with a nail sticking out of it. And in her mind, it looks like a flower. We see on her list on the backside, it calls for something that hurts.
Something that hurts.
So she's going to slam her hand onto this nail to hurt herself. Fortunately, Jess saves her at like the last second and pushes the nail away.
But we do see a glimpse into Alice's vision here.
Yes.
And she's looking down at the nail, and the nail is a flower.
Which is cool, so we can understand like what Alice is seeing in her imagination, completely different than what we are seeing here.
It's very
right?
cool.
So naturally, Jess calls in a specialist, a doctor of sorts, right?
Yeah.
And so she basically has a little therapy session between her and Alice with Chauncy in the room. And Alice is telling Chauncy about how his game made her feel, it made her scared, and she didn't want to play the game. And then she starts responding as Chauncy, talking in her Chauncy voice.
And here, my friends, my sweet, sweet friends, is where kid actors fails us.
Kid actors is not always the greatest.
Kid actors were fine. Kid voice actors were not.
Nope.
There was
not
something about this girl doing the voice for Chauncy that were so bad.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been so cool.
It could have been really neat.
Like, I loved the idea of Chauncey's voice being Alice. I thought that was a really, really cool idea.
Yeah.
But the way she was voicing this was comical. It wasn't like there was nothing really scary about it.
No,
at all.
exactly. It was. You might as well have been doing like a silly character voice. Like, Chauncy, you hurt me. Well, it's me, Chauncy. Well, what am I gonna do?
Oopsie, I made you stab your finger.
I brought you something that hurts. It's a cigarette.
Your mommy never loved you. Now you hurt.
Doesn't that hurt? You see, it's about a lot more than physical pain. I got the psychological pain too. It's me, Chauncy.
Imagine you in 30 years still sitting on your couch sad. That's pain.
But instead, she's like, it's me, Chauncy. I think you should be playing these games anymore. Don't listen to your stepmom. She's evil.
Okay, I'm laughing so hard because that is so accurate.
It's pretty much how it was.
That is so accurate.
And he's kind of just bullying her. And then she says, like, I don't think we should play together anymore, Chauncy. We're not friends anymore. The one cool thing that does kind of happen, the shot is from the back of her head covering up Chauncy.
Yeah.
So obviously we can't see its mouth, we can't see her mouth. There's a spot where she turns around and we can still hear her voice doing the Chauncy voice. Her mouth isn't moving.
Yes, I did like this a lot. And it's really funny too because the movie addresses it, which I appreciated. The doctor freaks out. Does she know ventriloquism?
Yeah, she's like, has she taken up any hobbies like ventriloquism? Like, what the fuck what do you mean? Yeah, you know what? My new stepdaughter has been real into ventriloquism. I'm glad you noticed that.
It's funny.
That's such a stupid thing. But so the doctor does show Jess some footage from similar cases in the past, right? She shows her like some kid who cut off his thumb and then went missing. Kids with these extreme attachments to their imaginary friends that then disappear without a trace. And then she mentions how in these cases, these kids mention this place called the Never Ever.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, hold on. You mean like this? And she's got like her kid drawing of the Never Ever, right?
Yeah.
And so Jess mentions Chauncey the bear physically, the doctor is confused.
Yes.
Because there is no bear. There
is
never
no bear.
was, which was kind of a neat twist.
I did not see this coming.
Because everything leading up to this movie had us believing there was a physical Chauncey bear in this. And then in this cool twist, doesn't exist. Only the mom and Alice have seen this bear physically.
Which, okay, the boy, though.
Yeah.
The boy that was taking Molly, which we didn't mention. We found out his Molly was actually allergy
His mom's
pills.
allergy pills, yeah.
Which is so stupid. But how did he see the bear?
Yeah.
'Cause I think the bear was fucking with him. I like
for
to
sure.
think that, but it doesn't really like cohesively make sense to the story.
You're totally right. I think it definitely just kind of hopped in his imagination. Right?
I think
so.
it
I guess
was-
it chooses when and who it kind of joins with.
For the sake of the film, yeah, we can totally say that like the creature chooses who it's tormenting. But at the same time, like it really felt like they needed more things for the bear to do.
Absolutely. But so the reason that it seems like mom knows this one is it apparently seems that mom also, Jessica, had Chauncey when she was little. Not like her own imaginary friend, like actually Chauncey, this
The
exact
bear,
same
the same
thing.
bear.
And because of her mom's death and her dad's condition, she like repressed it all. So she completely forgot all of this.
Yeah.
And so she goes on the hunt now because now Alice is missing. So she goes on the hunt for Alice, finds the little blue door, and Alice is nowhere to be seen, right? So now she knows, oh shit, Chauncey took her into this never ever, I guess is like the other world of this, kind of like Coraline, Beetlejuice kind of vibe, right? Where they has a separate world, right? So older daughter, she's like trying to explain this to older daughter Taylor. She's like, I'm not listening to you, stepmom, you're crazy, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. As she's running away, she runs into this old lady who is their neighbor, what we haven't mentioned yet. She suddenly becomes relevant. So it seems like she's got some important history to share. Her name is Gloria. So old
Glad
lady,
you remembered her name.
yeah, old lady Gloria has some of Jess's old drawings because she was her babysitter when she was a kid. So she was actually kind of there to experience Jessica having Chauncey as her own imaginary friend, right? She explains to Jessica that when she was a kid, Jessica opened a door to some imaginary friend's world. That's what the Never Ever is, right? Gloria has obsessively studied over all of this. She even wrote a book about all of this in her findings, right? So basically, to put a bow on all of this, what is happening here, the imaginary entity controlling Chauncey was upset that Jess abandoned it as a kid, so now it's back and wants to feed on Alice's creativity.
Yeah, and it does a little bit of an exposition dump. Exposition dump.
It's an exposition dump.
The exposition dump here is essentially that every little kid's imaginary friend is real.
Yes.
And if not, like, if just neglected and left alone, it will take some form that can basically come back to attack.
Yes.
If it gets abandoned.
And it seems like the imaginary friend you see, like the Chauncey in this one, is like a puppet for a different entity, right? Like there is an imaginary friend entity who is in charge of Chauncey. We even see some of like the mom's older drawings from when she was a kid, and it's like it shows this like dark figure, shadowy figure holding the Chauncey bear, right?
Yes. And okay, I actually loved this.
I thought it was really cool.
It felt very, very supernatural.
Yes.
Like it felt like something that the Winchester brothers would actually go out and fight, right? And so we are led to believe now that the creepy man who is always standing around is her imaginary friend from when she was a kid,
Exactly.
who was left to fester and
is
become
turned-
this evil.
I don't know if they
being.
turn evil. Are they always evil? Like, I guess they're nice if they're feeding off your creativity and your imagination as a kid.
I like to believe that it's the whole abandoned child syndrome thing where they become evil. Like it's a twisted version of Woody from
It's like
Toy
it's a Winnie the
Story.
Pooh Blood and Honey thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Christopher
yeah.
Robin
Oh,
left them. He's
totally.
Like, you left us. Now I'm an evil bear.
No, really though, it is just like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So now Jess has hatched a plan. So now the A team here is Jessica, the new mom. It is Gloria, the old babysitter, and it is Taylor, the older daughter. They're finishing Jessica's checklist that she had when she was a kid. Because guess what? The exact same goddamn thing is happening. So she needs to finish her list to get into this upside down world, basically the Never Ever. And after much bickering and troubleshooting, the ritual works and the door to the Never Ever opens. So Jess, Gloria, and Taylor go in. Welcome to the Never Ever. whatever, folks.
This is the best part of the movie.
This place looks like Alice in Wonderland's met some like blue abstract artists. It's just a bunch of like stairs and impossible angles and checkerboard designs and like doors that lead to nowhere. It's really cool. Gloria is horny for this whole experience.
Yeah, she
because
is.
this place's existence means that she isn't a crazy lady after all, right?
MC Escher.
Escher. That's the one.
That's
the vibe.
Yeah, like if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Stairs by MC Escher. Like it's very like twisting and turning and all over the place.
It's a really cool thing.
It's incredible. The kingdom of our imagination that can be whatever we want it to be. That's what Gloria yells.
Gloria just kind of she kind of becomes like weird supervillain all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No. And she even locks him in there.
Yeah. So yeah, apparently this entity has been talking to Gloria this entire time. It wants us to stay. It wants us all to stay here. Don't you understand? It's where we'll be happier here. It's a place made completely of imagination. This place can be whatever we want. Because she gets completely moited.
You get moited.
Whole moited, murdered by the Chauncy monster, Monstrous Chaunstrous.
She's just walking around, and there are like hallways of doors, right? It's very like Monsters Inc., where there's just like doors all the way down.
And they actually do. They look through one of them and they see the Jess's childhood. She sees them. They see little girl Jessica escaping through the door from the entity, and her dad helping her through it. He turns around into the door, stares the entity into its face, and he loses his goddamn mind. It's kind of eldritch in that way.
Yeah,
like
it's very
looking
cool.
upon the face of this evil entity drives him to madness. Right.
I really, really liked.
Thought it was kind of cool, but that explains why her dad kind of lost his mind after like the mother had died and this whole thing had happened, right? But yeah, Gloria dies really fast, just gets completely mauled by the Chauncy bear, which I kind of really liked. It just felt
it was so out of nowhere.
Felt very out of nowhere, but I was happy to see
In the best
Gloria
way.
die because I didn't like her.
She was awful. I was hoping she would go away.
Really,
and then
though.
she was just gone.
So now they're going through more doors. They're in the apartment that her husband lived in before him and his ex were split up. So it's Taylor's old apartment, right?
Yep.
They find Alice in here, and she's living her dream life. She's dressed as a princess. She's playing Tea Party. There's balloons all around her, and her real mom is here too.
Yep.
And so this fake real mom is trying to convince them to stay here. So Jess is like, all right, I'll fight imagination with imagination. So she starts creating a new blue door out of like blue scraps that they find in the room, like tearing apart papers, finding blue paint,
Kinda
and
dope.
smearing. It's a cool idea.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I like the whole fighting fire with fire kind of thing, right? And so then as they're trying to make their new escape door, because Gloria ruined their old escape door, big monster Chauncy makes his appearance again. And God, he looks so incredible.
so good.
I love the practical effects.
So good.
I don't know what else to say about it except it looked like a terrifying, gigantuan, like horrible teddy bear.
Yeah.
They just did a really good job.
Really,
with it.
really good job.
And yeah, practical effects. I love you. I love you to death. So Alice and Taylor manage to escape. But Jess sacrifices herself to stay here with Chauncy. And so she escapes from the room into the hallway of doors. They all start to open. It's a neat effect. I'm liking this never ever world. It looks super, super cool. She tries to pry open the door that Gloria closed, and Monster Chauncy is slowly pursuing her. This is one thing I didn't really like, is that the Monster Chauncy was not very fast.
No, he was pretty slow.
He
was also pretty easy to deal with.
Yes, pretty easy to like dispatch. Like, okay, I stabbed him with some scissors. I can run away from him, no problem. He is a giant beast. Like,
He's a looker, not a hooker.
I wish he was more of a. He's a looker, not a hooker. You know, you go out on the corner street, you see this bear, and he's got his leg out on the corner. You know, he's got his fishnets on. The fur is sticking all through it.
I just want to look at you. I don't want to hook you. I want to look at you.
Hey, baby, how much for 30 minutes? No. You look. You just look. You don't touch.
You wanna-
He hands over like $50, and he's like, all right, so what do we get? No. It's just looks.
I don't give any fluff jobs. You know, I don't give any bad teeth. I don't know.
I'm all fluff, no bite. Don't you touch, or I will bite. I will bite.
Oh, I'm gonna touch then.
I want to bite me.
Make me like Revenant.
Oh my God. I'll get you that Oscar.
How'd you know my name was Oscar?
Oscar the looker, not hooker bear.
Yeah, incredible.
So Jess is trying to escape through this door, and Alice and Taylor open it from their side, and they save her. And I literally wrote, "That's it? Really? That's the whole of it."
It really felt like it.
Really feels like the end, because now it fast forward to the future. Now Jess is reading her latest book to her father in his assisted living home where he lives, and it's like, I guess that's all we get from this experience, right?
Yeah.
But then we notice she's still in the imaginary place. She notices some key details around her and puts together the pieces. I am not in the real world right now. And I think it's a really, really fun twist, right? So all of her family in the room start getting creepy with like these Chauncey bear eyes. So like in the room with her, it's her husband that went on tour. It's the 2 daughters. They're reading to dad. And all of them start speaking to her as this entity, saying it fed on Alice's imagination and now they can never let her grow. So she agrees to stay here if it'll save the girls. But then in another plot twist, the imaginary Taylor with the scary Chauncey eyes gets hit on the back of the head by real Taylor.
Yeah.
And so they make their actual escape. So she knocks out the imaginary version of herself, and then it turns into that fucked up spider thing from the beginning, which I was really happy about. I was really glad that thing came back. And this one felt a little more scary than the Chauncey bear did, just because it chases them instead of slowly walking after them.
They all got their different abilities, man.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they were able to get away from it again pretty fast. They go through the door, cover it up. They start smearing black paint over the door just to like cover up the blue.
Which it looked cheesy,
yes,
but I liked it in concept.
It's a cool idea, right? But then as they're covering up the door, the spider creature reaches through and starts trying to pull Jess into the doorway. And then Jess looks into the eyes of this entity and she starts to go insane, just like her dad did, right?
This looked so good.
And it's like a smooth face with these hollow eye sockets, and these eye sockets start glowing and showing like visions of you're looking at the imagination of thousands of children, right?
Oh
like,
my God.
Kind of eldritch. I did enjoy this.
I loved this. This was actually like, I know I was one of the wow, words are really hard.
Words are tough.
Words are tough. I know that it was like not everyone's favorite part of the movie, but I loved the way this guy ended up looking. And I liked the deep crevices of his eyes, and it felt very like in The Lighthouse, where Willem Dafoe is casting those beams down.
God, that's one of my favorite shots in that movie.
It's so good. Well, and it's based on that like famous painting or whatever.
Yes.
And I loved that image.
Yes.
And it was really cool how it went back to why her dad lost his mind.
Yes.
I just really liked that.
It all connected. I
that
enjoyed
one
it.
connection.
The
worked
only
really, really
thing I
well.
dislike is the fact that after these events, she's not insane.
Yes, she was fine.
I guess it's like she didn't look at it for long enough, but she's completely normal after this. But how they get out of this situation is that Alice sets a match and lights this demon on fire, which then sets the entire house on fire. So I guess,
of course,
goodbye house, goodbye imaginary world. They all manage to escape. And that's pretty much how the movie ends. The last shot is them going to like a hotel and trying to check in. They swear they hear the Chauncey voice. They see a kid playing with a teddy bear. Then he lifts it up higher. It's not actually the Chauncey, just another teddy bear.
But is it though?
But then as they leave this hotel, they're like, you guys want to stay at another place? Yep, let's go. It was kind of a weird comedic moment there. As they're walking past, we see the child actually playing with the Chauncey bear, the one that we've seen, right? So I guess the cycle continues. We're gonna Chauncey will return, you know?
Yeah, really though.
But yeah, that's imaginary. Anything else to add to that little bit there?
Just that there were like 2 kills.
There were two.
One.
Wow.
I think there were 1.
There was like 1, maybe 2 kills.
I think there was just the 1.
But Derek, how many jump scares were in this bad boy?
So I kept my own tally. I said to the boys, boys, every time you jump, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm also going to mark every time I jump.
Really, to translate what he's saying, he said, anytime there's jump scare, just scream jump scare.
I did yell that. And it was fun. Every time there was a jump scare, jump scare!
Exactly,
It was very, very cool.
There were
Ended up
lots.
with 26
That's
bad
a
boys.
lot. That's a lot.
26.
That really feeds into your expectation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Speaking of.
on the subject of expectations, the results for those, I said better than the critics were claiming. And I'd say, I'd like to say I saw in this movie what could have been really good and held to that. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful either.
Yeah, absolutely. Some really cool practical effects. Oh, yeah, dude.
Really, though?
There was very little in this movie that wasn't practical, and I would love to see that in real life.
The sets were really, really cool.
The sets were all really cool.
Because I've seen pictures of the
creatures were
practical
cool.
Chauncey bear in the practical Never Ever set. Looks super cool.
So dope.
Big respect for that. I said the bear practical effects would be my favorite part. Practical always wins.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Monstrous Chaunstrous was no exception. He was fantastic. Love the man. Love the man.
Monstrous Chaunstrous. I don't know. That's nothing.
Monstrous Chaunstrous is back. Go to bed.
Go to bed,
I'm not
honey.
going to check for Monstrous Chaunstrous again.
Very lackluster story. Yeah, man. The story behind everything, like the story we could see was pretty bad. All of the lore I love.
There's
and
an iceberg here.
There really is.
That's super cool.
There is an insanely good concept here that's like a twisted Monsters Inc. that I just want to delve into so bad.
Totally. I said no characters I care about. And I can confidently say I did not care if any of these characters lived or died.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to feel for them and root for them.
too.
You know, that's what you want in a horror movie, is a protagonist you can care about.
I did not care about Jessica at all.
There were several moments that we didn't even mention just because it's like trying to get you to care about them. We go to visit the dad in his assisted living home, and like I just didn't really care for any of these characters or feel for them, which is sad. I feel like they didn't do a great job at making me care about any of them.
Yeah, for sure. Some really poor editing. Yeah, it was like lots of jumps and quick cuts to different scenes. Like everything was just kind of stark changes.
Yeah,
it
really
was,
though.
Nothing was cohesive, really.
Yes.
It like when we were living in a scene, it was decent.
Yes.
But then as soon as like we transitioned out of it, it just wasn't very good.
Totally. I said it's going to be a movie that drags in any scenes that aren't spooky. And this movie really did not take off until the last like 20 minutes. And it was all set up and world building about these characters that they could not make me care about. And then not a lot of payoff. It just kind of didn't go anywhere. Loved the Never Ever stuff. And we lived there for a very, very small fraction of the movie.
It was such a small period of, I mean, this movie was like 140 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, an hour 44. And it was like nothing in the Never Ever. It was like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Overused jump scares that'll make me jumps because I'm in the theater. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
I jumped so much in this movie.
I've never seen Derek so jumpy. Call him Mario.
Whoa. Maybe I'm going to do that every time I jump scare.
Yeah,
now.
that's why we can't take him to scary movies when there's other people. That's actually why we go see them at 10:25 at night, because he's the whole movie. Wahoo! Wahoo! Sorry, guys. It's my tick. Wahoo! Wahoo! Sorry. It's just kidding. Final expectation for me was kid actors. Sorry, kid, but this performance did a lot of nothing for me. I really couldn't take her seriously.
Same.
And the kid actor was a pain and mostly just an asshole the whole time.
The teen actor.
How are you feeling about the kid actors?
Yeah, they man,
actor.
they did not do good. The teenager or either Alice or I mean, let's be honest though. Everyone did kind of a boring job.
I don't think there was anyone in this movie that really did it for me except for Chauncy. Thank you, Chauncy.
Yep, thank you, Chauncy.
A wonderful performance. And the Oscar goes to Chauncy. Speech.
It's just I'm about to make my bell and my bell and
so
my
beautiful.
bell.
It's so beautiful.
That was awful radio.
Thank you, Chauncy. I'm so moved and I'm so touched. It really was a surprise to me.
Would you like a bell sandwich?
I would love a bear sandwich. So let's get into our surprises about this movie.
Barely ate any of it.
I barely ate. On the subject of Monster Chauncy, a big surprise for me was Monstrous Chauncy. It wasn't really a surprise because I've seen the practical effect beforehand, but every time I saw him, I loved him. Gorgeous
So
work.
good.
Oscar, well deserved. Well done.
Yeah.
Another surprise for me was that fake out ending. It was pretty good for me. It got me. But mostly because I was initially disappointed that it was that easy. Like, you guys just left out the door, closed the door behind you, and that's game over, I guess. But so I enjoyed the way that it kind of turned its head on that. It did still end up being pretty easy, and that was another surprise. Like, these characters, they spent a whole movie setting up and were actually pretty cool, ended up being pretty easy to put down. Like, it wasn't that hard for them. Another surprise was it went so back and forth from making me want to like roll my eyes to actually being pretty captivating, and that back and forth was something, I will say.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was good or bad, but it was something. And then my final surprise was just that the scary parts worked. Like, I liked those. There just wasn't enough of them given to me. I really wish I had more of those to cling to. But those scary parts I did like. That bottom half of the iceberg I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
What were your surprises?
I mean, obviously the practical effects. We've gone on and on about that. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
No real practical kills, though. Like, no gore.
I mean, it was literally just the
PG-13.
one woman getting dragged off the screen.
And that
right?
happened off screen,
And that's
right?
Off screen.
I think they spat blood out of the door. Is that right?
Yeah, she like climbed back out and then got dragged off.
And then there's a bunch of blood.
Which is like a very PG-13 death.
Totally.
Which is fine. You know, you can make good PG-13 movies.
I think
probably with a movie like this where there wasn't a lot of death, it works.
I think it's important to have PG-13 movies. I know a lot of people be like, well, no horror movie that's not rated R is worth it. I think there's a lot of value to be had in a PG-13
We've watched a lot
movie.
of really good PG-13 movies.
Yeah.
How many jump scares actually got me?
So many.
Like,
woo!
Like, I know I jump a lot, but I didn't expect that many of them to get me. The fear the man in the corner gave me.
Wow.
But then also, at the same time, how much that was overused. We didn't really talk about this, but it was there so much. By the 8th time, it stopped putting any fear in me.
Really, though. Overused.
The fact that they just wrote off the dad in the way that they did.
And, like, we were thankful for it, right? Like, I did not care for the man much at all. And it's just like, oh, cool, they got rid of that problem for us because they threw him aside.
I definitely had no issue with it. It was more just like, why put him in the movie at all?
Really, though.
Literally did not need
Could have been a single mom and it would have been just fine.
It would have been better. I would have felt more for her had she been a single
Truly, though, I would love a whole, like, a single mom who works 2 jobs kind of stuff. She's a survivor,
She's a survivor. The creature was my next one. And I mean, this kind of goes into the practical effects, but actually the creature I'm talking about here is that entity, right? The gross thing.
Yes.
I love this concept. I love anything that plays with your imagination or plays with like nightmares and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the gimmick of his eyes, like glowing eyes, always gets me.
100%.
And so this really, really worked. And then finally, my last surprise is so many thrown away plots.
A lot.
This movie had so much potential in its plot structure, and it just threw it all away.
And they tried to cram so much in there because there was like, the mom, the biological mom that they made crazy and just kind of wrote her off.
Yeah,
Dad who went on tour. There was the babysitter who wrote a book and she looked like maybe she was going somewhere. They killed her off. Even the teen from next door. So much bullshit that didn't need to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. Shall we discuss verdicts? Verdicts for me. I made a new one for this one. I said that was potentialable. I think this movie has a really interesting premise that felt fairly original, and those horror elements really worked for me. I liked that kind of stuff. The Never Ever was cool, and the entity was really spooky, but the movie spends far too much time setting up its whimsical horror world and not enough time sitting in what makes it good. And the performances felt as stale as a stuffed toy, but the premise of this was enough to make me not regret visiting the theater to check it out. But maybe you can imagine a more fun time in your own way.
And
yours?
for me, that was almostable. I mean, what's the difference between our two ratings?
Yeah,
right?
they're very, very
basically
similar.
the same. Imaginary was so close to being a fun film. The scary elements were there, and the twists and turns really lent themselves to being a captivating story, but an uneven script and some poor directorial decisions unfortunately brought it down. With some stronger acting and some more purposeful direction, Imaginary could have been a really great movie, not just in your imagination.
Blah, blah.
Oh my God, it's Count Trivia.
It's
Count
me,
Trivia. How are you
a
today?
single bat who is trivia. It never ever is to blah. And he always says blah blah. I am the vampire. Is that nothing? Dude, you're looking at me like it wasn't good. Derek, I worked on that for weeks. I'm sad now.
Hey, did you hear we're by now?
Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Podcast came out.
Does that mean that's twice as much blood for me? Absolutely. I'm loving this. Yes,
Wait,
yes.
No. That's not how that works.
What do you mean? There's 2 of you now, right? You split yourself into 2 halves. No?
Well, yeah, that's what by.
Okay.
No, we're
okay. You had me
goodbye.
thinking I was crazy. No. Okay. So take your. I'll give you
What
twice
does
as much.
that even mean?
I'll give you twice as much trivia. Here you go.
It's half as much.
It's twice as much. It's bi. Bi means 2, right?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Like a bicycle, like there was the unicycle, then there was the bicycle. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Go home.
Okay.
Go back up to your ivory tower.
Okay. How does he know they have an ivory? Okay, flap. So trivia this week. Director Jeff Wadlow cited Poltergeist 1982 as an influence on this movie, quoting, "It perfectly strikes the balance between scares and this benign sense of wonder and excitement and emotion that you get when you have a family that you care about." If only he had given us a family to care about, am I right?
Oh, if only we cared about the family.
I like when the bear killed the lady.
If only the bear had barely been there. Oh, he was.
What do you call a bear without ears? B.
Damn it! I was forced. You forced me into laughing at that fucking
got
joke.
you.
I wouldn't have laughed.
I got you.
You know that I can't resist. I can't resist.
The first trailer, which premiered in front of Five Nights at Freddy's, actually, which is probably where we saw it, actually.
It is, yeah.
Consisted almost entirely of sound effects over a blank screen.
Remember.
Encouraging audiences to use their imagination.
Yes, that's why we were so excited.
That's A+ marketing. I really, really enjoyed that. The family moves into a house on Elm Street in Springwood, which is obviously a reference to A Nightmare on Elm Street, another imaginary villain proven to be real, right?
Nice.
And then after Jessica, Taylor, and Gloria enter to the Never Ever world looking for Alice, there is a full panoramic view to show it like an upside down place. Apparently, this plays tribute to Labyrinth during the final confrontation between Sarah and Jareth. The visual, it literally says here, visual representation for both worlds is based on the works of a Dutch author and mathematician, M.C. Escher. Totally checks out.
Wait, hold on, scroll up.
Yeah, what's up?
So I don't know why. When I was reading after Jessica Taylor and Gloria enter into the Never Ever, in my mind, I imagined them getting and logging on to NeverQuest, that EverQuest from like years ago, the first Warcraft.
After they
entered into EverQuest, they were never seen again.
It does feel like and here we find our heroes after they did this thing, playing EverQuest.
I don't know, that's stupid.
In their imaginations, they are always playing EverQuest.
Hey, good, solid run, man.
That's our time.
That's an episode.
That's a whole episode.
It's probably the most time we've spent on a movie in a while.
And we're going to continue doing that.
We're going to do that. I think it felt good. I think you'll agree. Please let us know how you feel about us.
Yes.
Tell me in detail how you feel about me.
Even if there are things that you want to see, like we are taking time, spreading out the episodes a little bit to hone it and make it a better thing for you. So if there are things that you like, like want more of this, want less of that, dedicate these kinds of things. Like, what are you here for? Like, are you here strictly for the movie? Are you here for the silly Garfield bits?
We're a 2-man brand here.
Yes, we're a 2-man brand,
and there are
we're
enough
a 3-man brand. It's me and it's Derek and it's you.
And there's
you
enough
listeners at home.
There's enough of you now that we can mold our show to be what you want, more of what you want. So like, please let us know.
It's not just about us, but yeah. So now, do not expect an episode next week. After this week, we will come back on the 23rd. Right? That's how we did the.
I don't remember.
That's the date that we figured out. So we'll be back on the 23rd of this month with a movie called Necronomicon from 1993, sitting at a 40%. Now, mind you, that is a 40% audience rating. This does not have a critic score, but it's got Jeffrey Combs in it, guys.
3 horror stories. A man finds a monster. A reporter confronts a man-doctor's plan. And a policewoman finds an evil cavern. Pretty good. That's like our trailer.
So it's actually, I dig it. Yeah.
That was cute.
So it's an anthology series. So we have 3 stories inside of this one. So I'm excited to kind of break into this one, see what's there. But yeah, thank you so much for bearing with us. No pun, kind of pun intended.
I barely got that. Let me Google naked bears real quick.
No, God, Derek, no, please. If you'd enjoyed our hilarity and our reviews of these horror movies, check us out on all of our social medias. We are chilling out at Instagram at that_was_horrible, Twitter at TWH Podcast, Facebook at That Was Horrible Podcast, YouTube at That Was Horrible, and TikTok at That Was Horrible.
That was horrible.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
We will.
We're gonna try out this format. I think you guys will like what we dish out. I think it'll be a change for the better.
I'm really hoping to do more not so horribles and do some more content that we've been trying to do
we just
for a
recently
while.
watched Late Night with the Devil and it kicked ass.
Yes,
it was fantastic.
Such a good movie. Go see
and we
that.
would love to do things like make not so horribles for movies like that, right? A little more short form episodes. So we'll dish out more of that stuff. We will always be here. We will always be horrible. And you do us a promise. Promise us that Garfield will always be with you.
Be with you
And stay spooky.
Goodbye.